Hello everyone, it's Scott, and we're back for our final look at Modern Horizons 3. We've got our top 10 rares from this set that I think are going to have the most impact on Modern. So let's dive into the top 10 rares. Coming in at number 10 are the fetch lands from the set. So we got the first 5 in Modern Horizons 2, now we're getting the second 5 here in Modern Horizons 3. So now we've got all 10 combinations for the fetch land. So this should be very helpful to deck builders because one of the problems with these cards historically has been they're just not available. And now getting that increased availability should help more people play a more diverse group of cards in Modern. And that's why they're my number 10 choice in the top 10 rares. Next, at number 9, we've got Toxic Deluge, which is a card that's seen Commander play in the past and is coming to Modern for the first time. And Toxic Deluge is 2 and a black mana. You get a sorcery, an additional cost to cast the spell, you pay X life, and all your creatures get -X until end of turn. So this is a very powerful black board wipe where you can use your own life to really deal with the problems on the other side of the board and take out whatever you need to that your opponent has. And number 8, I've got Eldrazi Linebreaker for 1, a colorless mana and a red mana. You get an Eldrazi with Devoid, and it's a 3/3 with Trample. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gains haste and gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is the number of Eldrazi's you control. So this is a very powerful card in any Eldrazi deck. And we've got enough Eldrazi's in this set to go with those that we've already got that we're probably going to see a strong dedicated Eldrazi deck in Modern going forward because there's just so many good cards. And this one means that any of those higher mana cost Eldrazi's that you play, they can immediately come into play and attack the turn they come into play, and that's a really powerful ability. Next, we've got at number 7, Null Drifter for 7 mana. You get an Eldrazi Elemental. That's a 4/4. And when you cast a spell, you get to draw 2 cards. It has Flying and Annihilator 1, which means whenever this creature attacks, defending player sacrifices a permanent. And it has Evoke as well for 2 and a blue mana. You may cast a spell for its Evoke cost. If you do, it's sacrificed when it enters the battlefield. So when you cast this for its Evoke cost, you get to draw 2 cards. So it's got a lot of value attached to it. So that Null Drifter is a card we're definitely going to be seeing play in our blue decks in Modern. At number 6, I've got Harbinger of the Sea for 1 and 2 blue mana. You get a Merfolk Wizard, that's a 2/2, and non-basic lands are islands. So this is a Blood Moon, but on a creature, and instead of making everything a mountain that's non-basic, it is now going to make those islands. So I think this is a potentially very, very powerful card in Modern, and certainly makes Modern Merfolks a much more powerful deck to play moving forward. At number 5, I've got Kozilek's Command for X and 2 colorless mana. You get a Kindred instant, that's an Eldrazi, and you get to choose 2. Target player creates X01 colorless Eldrazi spawn creature tokens with sacrifice this creature, add a colorless mana. Target player scries X, then draws a card. Exile target creature with mana value X or less, and exile up to X target cards from graveyard. So a lot of flexibility on Kozilek's Command. And I think because of that, in the Eldrazi deck or in really any other deck that wants to be able to deal with opponent's creatures and graveyard issues, and because of that flexibility, I think it's going to definitely see Modern play. At number 4, I've got Flare of Cultivation for 1 and 2 green mana. You get a sorcery, and you may sacrifice a non-token green creature rather than pay this spell's mana cost. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Reveal those cards, put one of them on the battlefield tap and the other in your hand, then shuffle. So in theory, you can play this on turn 1 and begin that ramping process immediately. And because of that, this is going to be a card that I think we're going to see played in any green deck that has Modern playability. At number 3, I've got Nadu, Winged Wizard, for 1, a green and a blue mana. You get a legendary creature. That's a bird wizard. That's a 3/4. It has flying, and creatures you control have, whenever this creature becomes a target of a spell or ability, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land card, put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, put it into your hand. This ability triggers only twice each turn. So we've got a lot of cards in Modern that target your own creatures. You know, we've got Voltron style decks already, and I think Nadu is just going to be a build around card in Modern, and I'm very interested to see how this is going to be played moving forward. Next, at number 2, we've got Shifting Woodland. It's a land. Shifting Woodland enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a forest. It taps for green mana, and it has Delirium for 2 and 2 green mana. Shifting Woodland becomes a copy of target permanent card in your graveyard until end of turn. Activate only if there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard. So I think this is, you know, potentially of this land cycle that we saw from the set, this is the best of them, because that Delirium ability is very powerful. So basically, you can, whatever the best thing in your graveyard is, you can make Shifting Woodlands a copy of that, and then you've got it for that turn. And that means that you're going to be able to attack if it's a creature, or if it's an important ability, you're going to get that abilities or those abilities. So I think this is going to see a tremendous amount of play in Modern. And finally, at number 1, I've got Kappa Cannoneer for 5 and a blue mana. You get an artifact creature. That's a Turtle Warrior. That's a 4/4. It has Improvise, and your artifacts can help cast the spell. Each artifact you tapped after you're done activating mana abilities pays for 1. It's got a ward 4, and whenever Kappa Cannoneer or another artifact enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Kappa Cannoneer, and it cannot be blocked this turn. So Kappa Cannoneer is a reprint that we've seen in Commander in the past, and with Modern Affinity decks, I think this is the card that the deck has been looking for to make it even more solid in Modern. So I think this is going to see a tremendous amount of play in those Affinity decks and have an actual real impact on Modern. All right. That's my top 10 rares from Modern Horizons 3. Thanks for staying to the end of the video. Remember to like and subscribe to get further content like this in future preview seasons, and I will see you next time. Thanks.